Hey everyone, this is the Charisma Quotient. I'm your host, Kim Seltzer, a dating and makeover expert, where I will help you build confidence, make connections, and find love from the outside in. Letting go of the old stuff. It is the secret to manifesting new things and people in your life. And yes, that includes a healthy relationship. And through, believing that your thoughts create your reality, it's a perspective shift known as the art of letting go. And that goes hand in hand with the law of attraction. When you learn to release something, it can be, a bad relationship, an emotion, a career, something that's not serving you. It is the first sign of trust within yourself, trust in the process, and knowing you will receive what you desire and that you are worthy and deserving of it. But too often, you might hang on to something in fear of feeling the pain, which is sadly in the end, and this is the irony of it all, it causes more pain, right? And letting go means to release whatever it is that's keeping you from a hopeful and happy life so that you can find something better. It hurts to let go because you have invested so much time and effort into what it is you must now release. That's why often we hang on to something. And the discomfort of the thought of the release is the exact thing you need to allow that change to come in. And it's kind of like this is how I see it, going to get a shot that you know that you need, right? And the thought of going to the doctor, feeling that pain of the shot might make you avoid going, even though you know the shot is good for you ultimately. But then once you go, that tiny prick, although that hurts in that quick moment, it isn't as bad as you build it up in your head. And then you feel that relief afterwards and it's over and now you're healthy. This reminds me of a client. I want to share a quick story around this process of letting go and how it really helped her release someone toxic for her. And it allowed her to have this new person come into her life. I had been working with her, I want to say about a year ago. She was a podcast listener and she came on and she wanted to start dating again after divorce. And she had been divorced for a while. But here's the problem that after I heard a little more detail taking her history, she said, well, there's something I got to tell you, Kim. My ex is still in my life. I said, oh, well, she had children. So I'm like, okay, in what capacity? She's like, well, he continues to visit. He stays over. He sleeps in my bed. We have sex. He stays in my home. And I have to say, he's emotionally and financially draining me. And when I asked her about what she was hanging on to, like, what was it that she was benefiting from that? And she said at the time it was just too hard to break free from him because every time she tried, he would emotionally blackmail her. And she would then feel guilty. And I asked her about that, how that was benefiting from her, being in this cycle with him. And she really couldn't come up with anything. And in fact, she said it was all bad, that he didn't care about the kids. She just felt angst every time he would come around. And she had to modify her schedule and create room for him and continued to go on and on about how it was costing her more than it was benefiting her. So I asked then, why don't you set boundaries and just say no more? Just say no so that she could be free. And she responded, because it's just too painful. I don't know how. In which I said, you realize that you're trying to avoid the pain, but you're already in pain. So what you're trying to avoid, you're already in. And she just kind of paused and she said, oh my God, I never thought of it that way. And so we talked more about how she was holding on to something toxic to avoid feeling the pain. And she needed to break that off in order to really attract someone new in her life. And after many sessions, obviously, of working together, we created a plan and she set a boundary with him. He stopped coming. And lo and behold, guess what happened? After that, she started dating up a storm. And now she's with someone new that she's having fun with. So the mind does not enjoy that thought of letting go for that change. It enjoys comfort and familiarity, but the space for more can only open when we release what is no longer working, which is why I wanted to bring an expert in this field of eliminating suffering by letting go. He is amazing. I'm so honored to have him on. He has dedicated more than 4 decades to teaching and sharing the Sedona Method, and he will share definitely more about this because it's amazing. It helps people alleviate their suffering and discover the truth of who they are. He is the author of New York Times bestseller, The Sedona Method, and the co-author of Happiness is Free and It's Easier Than You Think with Lester Levinson. He is one of the featured teachers in the book and movie phenomenon, The Secret, which I didn't know. That's so cool, as well as a featured teacher in The Greatest Secret. He's also featured in the movie Letting Go. So perfect for our topic. He is the director of training, chief teacher, and spokesperson of Sedona Training Associates, and organization created to promote the emotional releasing techniques inspired by his friend, mentor, and teacher, Lester Levinson. He is also the founding member of the Transformational Leadership Council. Welcome, Hale. Oh my God, I'm going to botch your name. You say your last name. Drum roll.
Yes, Hale Dwoskin.
Dwoskin. I almost said Dwoskin. See?
That's okay. That's very common. It's not a problem. It's a weird name. Actually, and it's from Russian and it means children of honey.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Are you sweet like honey? Because you seem sweet.
I've been told that.
Yeah.
It depends on who you ask, though.
I can't imagine another side because already I think you're awesome. And actually that leads me to a question because obviously your resume and what you do is so impressive, but I always like to get a little more personal. And
sure. Go for it.
Yeah, because I would love to hear how you got into all of this. Like what is the kind of backstory that led you down this path?
Oh, well, I've been very fortunate this lifetime that I've always been attracted to finding inner truth and being free of limitation. And it started for me as a teenager. And I explored many tools, both from the East and the West. And whenever I did one of these tools, I really dove into them. I didn't just do them superficially. And then in 1976, I met Lester Levinson at a seminar that I organized for someone else. He just came as a guest. And meeting him was such a profound experience that I decided to explore his work. And before I had even finished his basic program, I had this intuitive knowingness that this is what I was going to dedicate my life to. And I've been doing that ever since. I've been teaching and exploring and using and sharing the Sedona Method since 1977.
Wow. Right. Oh my gosh. Have you used it in your personal life? Like, was it something?
Course.
Yeah. Cause I wondered if you actually got into it to incorporate it into your life and there was a need for you to learn this whole process.
Well, I was young. I was only 22 years old when I learned the Sedona Method. And how I use it first is to start to actually feel some of the spiritual truths that I've been reading about and hearing about. And I noticed that there was this behind experience, there's always this profound sense of peace and certainty and a love. And as I let go of all my struggles in life, again, at 22, I didn't have that many, but I had some.
Right. You had struggles? What?
Well, actually, I'm sure anyone's 22 listening to this going, what do you mean there's no struggles?
Oh my God.
Yes,
yeah. Because at that age, you think, that there's a lot of struggle. And that's the thing, as you get older, you have more experiences and things happen to you. So you have more opportunities to let go, right?
Right. Oh, definitely. So anyway, so I So I've been using it on myself since 1976, and I've been helping other people use this tool to let go of all limitation uh, since then too. And there isn't one part of my life that wasn't profoundly transformed. I used to be shy. Uh, when I was growing up, I hated talking. I actually didn't even like talking to people one-on-one, but now, I mean, not right now because there's no live events, but this weekend, I just finished a Zoom event for about 400 people.
Ah,
But I've spoken in front of thousands, and I feel totally comfortable, whether it's 100, or 1,000. And so that's just one example of how my life changed. Another example is I used to have a fear of getting hurt physically.
mm,
And so I was very careful how I moved around. I had some things happen when I was very young, and that was coloring how I dealt with getting hurt physically. And I don't have that at all anymore. It disappeared decades ago. And the other thing is, I used to hate to exercise.
that's a
And
common one.
that's a common one. And uh, I actually used to think exercise was to be avoided at all costs. My wife and I were members of a gym years and years ago, and she'd go to do the classes, and I worked out a little sometimes. But then I would go and get a massage. That was my exercise,
Right.
having someone else work on me. But now uh, I'm not working out at the moment because I'm recovering for some back stuff. But I often work out. I hike every day. I do yoga every day, and I love it. And
Ah,
again, that was from letting go.
letting go.
And I also use letting go to become incredibly successful. I mean, I have millions and millions of dollars worth successful. And it was by letting go of all the thoughts and feelings and beliefs and ideas to the contrary.
You know what I love about all these examples? Because I think a lot of people will resonate with what you're saying is that it has to do with fears. Like when we don't let go, I mean, I'm hearing there used to be a fear of rejection, the fear of pain, the fear of not being good enough, the fear of, success, the fear of failure, right? And these are all like common things, and it's hard. I did a whole podcast actually on how to let go of fear, but it's hard because a lot of times you self-sabotage. And I love hearing that you're married and then you were talking about how you used to be shy, because here's the thing that a lot of my listeners grapple with and a lot of my clients do is that shyness and being introverted has been a pain point for a lot of my clients. And I was wondering if you could speak to that, like how
Oh, sure, sure.
how you got, and then we'll talk into the Sedona method a little bit more, but
Well,
I
actually,
love it.
what happened was, first off, in my experience, fear is not at all hard to release.
Mm.
When you have the correct tools and the correct perspective, then fear dissolves easily like butter.
You say that
It's
so smoothly. Like it's so easy.
actually, it's really funny. I've never said easily like butter before. I don't know where that came from, but
I love it. Like you just make it sound so easy and
well,
oozy.
but again, that's my living experience.
Right.
I've been in a car careening out of control and been in peace. I've been in earthquakes and been at peace. I've been in really dangerous neighborhoods and been at peace. Uh, I'm speaking from my direct experience, and not just my experience with working with the Sedona Method is used by hundreds of thousands of people all over the world. And I get reports of people thinking that this fear was insurmountable all the time. And then people reporting, I never thought I'd ever be able to not be afraid of this again. And now I don't even, people have to remind me that I used to be afraid of that. And that's very common. And the reason that any emotion is easy to let go of is our emotions and the thoughts that they generate aren't who we are. We feel as though they are, but they aren't. And because they aren't who we are, we can naturally and easily and directly let them go. And so fear, it definitely, it's something that most people struggle with, but it can be let go of.
So did you use that method when you met your wife? Like if you were shy, like how did you
Oh,
get
oh,
over that? Like
yes. Well,
approach
actually,
anxiety?
no, actually, what happened? Well,
Yeah.
by the time I met my wife, I had already gotten over my shyness.
Oh, you did. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Uh-huh.
But, uh, but the interesting thing was with my wife, I did release in that situation too. Uh,
Mm.
I, I really, really liked her from the moment I met her, but she wasn't so sure about me.
Oh, yes, I know the story.
Yes, yes, yeah, I'm sure you do. But
Yeah.
what happened is when we were together, I kept letting go. And when you're around someone who's letting go and just more comfortable being who they really are, you feel more relaxed. And she was dating other people at the time, but she realized that time just stopped when we were together and she felt happier. So eventually she chose me. And so it really was very helpful in the dating situation because in dating there's this clingy feeling when someone really wants to be with you, and it makes you want to go, never mind, I'm not
Right.
interested. Well, because I was letting go, whenever I could feel that clinginess come up, I would just let it go. So I was just fun to be with. and
Ooh, that's
and
good. Wait. I want you to pause because
sure.
that is something you listening need to hear because I think this gets caught up in people all the time. And that's what ends up being more attractive to the other person. Like when you let go of that neediness, that like, do you like me and the nervousness and all that kind of
Right, right,
thing,
right.
it you're actually like energetically making that other person come to you and
Yes.
it's always healthier with that dynamic but for both parties,
For
so
both
I
parties,
love
yes. If
that.
both
Yeah.
people get to be themselves and they
Hmm.
can meet at a much more mutual level, and there's more of a place to build a relationship from because you're not contracted inside. You're just open and being yourself. You're having fun, and and uh, that's possible. The more you let go, the easier that is.
I love that. Okay, I'm sure everyone's like, what is this Sedona method that he speaks of? Do you know what? You don't know this. This is really ironic. When I got your email about coming onto the show, I kind of got chills because oh gosh, I want to say about 6 years ago, I did a big event in Vegas and I quoted the Sedona method. And we did this whole exercise where I had everyone stand up and let go of something that they were holding onto.
Yes,
And I had
yes.
them crinkle up paper and throw it and create like a new thing. And so it's so cool to talk to you and just like really hear from the horse's mouth this whole process. So anyway, I just wanted to mention that. Yeah. So, a wise one, tell us what the Sedona method's about.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Well, the Sedona method is just simply a tool to show you how to do what's natural. Young children naturally let go of their emotions.
Mm.
If they've been around a young child, have seen a child fall down and then look around to see if they need to be upset. If there's no one going to give them some attention or approval, they let it go. Or they'll have a knockdown, drag out fight with their best friend and say, "I'm never going to talk to you again." And then 10 minutes later, they're playing again. What happens as adults, we get trained out of this natural ability to let go. And because it is natural, it's not that difficult for you to get back in touch with how to let go. And the Sedona method not only shows you how to let go of thoughts and feelings, but it also shows you how to let go of the patterns that are holding you back, the beliefs that are holding you back, the self-sabotage, the self-doubt, the all the things that prevent you from just being relaxed in yourself enjoying life to the fullest, and performing at your best. And it's based on the premise that every feeling we have can be let go of. And let me show you what I mean. Pick up a pen or a pencil or some object in your hand,
Okay, I got it.
and uh, this object, for the sake of this analogy, represents our unwanted emotions, our thought and unwanted thoughts, feelings, beliefs, etc. Your hand represents your gut or your awareness. Now grip the object really tightly with your hand. Now, if you did this long enough, it would start to feel uncomfortable and also really familiar, because this is what we generally do with what we consider painful emotions. Now
Yes.
open your hand and roll the object around in your hand.
Oh,
Now,
it's so
is
much
this,
better.
yes,
The
definitely, it's
massage.
already better. Wow.
I'm
But
already feeling a little release here.
yeah,
Okay.
but is this object attached to your hand? Obviously not. But if you think about our relationship with our emotions, we don't usually say we don't even usually say I feel sad. We say I'm sad. We don't usually say I feel angry. We say I'm angry. We've identified with it. So we forget that we have a choice. So now keep your hand closed lightly around the object, turn your hand upside down, and just let go of it. That's how easy it can be to let go of any uncomfortable emotion. Now, I know that sounds outrageous because often it feels impossible. But no matter how impossible it feels now, based on my direct experience personally and with all the people I've worked with over 4 decades, I know if you were able to drop that object, or you can just imagine it, if you're in a place you couldn't pick up an object and drop it, then I know you can do this as well. So that's what we mean by letting go. It's really that simple. It's just a choice.
Yeah, but I think it would only work if we hear your voice every single time. Right? I know you listen, like you have such a soothing voice. And when there's a meditative quality to it, but that was super cool. And actually that was kind of what I did with everybody. And we just
Yes,
did it with paper, but that it is that simple. And I think we overcomplicate things, and that's why it feels
definitely.
overwhelming, and that's why we get an analysis paralysis, right? Because it just feels so painful and overwhelming that it's hard to detach from it. And I think the mere act of the physical part of doing that, I think there's a release in the body, which then works with the brain. So I love that. It's so
Yes,
powerful.
yes. And so it's important to know that you don't need to hear my voice to do this. Now, of course, we
Yeah,
have audio programs and seminars and things like that. But
right.
the whole point of the Sedona Method book, the Happiness is Free book, the are is to teach you how to discover this natural ability within yourself. So without needing any external stimulus, you can get into the habit of letting go by yourself. We're always doing something with our emotions. We're either pressing them down or we're expressing them, we're throwing them out at the world.
Mm.
But the balancing place between those two is just welcoming and allowing them, and then just simply letting them go. And once you find that place within yourself, it becomes more and more spontaneous, natural, easy. If you want to know what letting go feels like, remember the last time you had a really good belly laugh.
Oh, it's the
And
best. Yeah.
it's the best, right? Well, that's what it feels like inside to let go. That's one of nature's ways of making sure we don't explode as
Yeah.
adults, because most of us have forgotten how to do this on call. But when you learn it again, it's on call 24/7. Whenever you need to let go of something, you now have a way to do that.
What's really great about this in relation to dating, because obviously, like, my listeners are looking for dating advice and relationship advice. Um, there's a definition for flirting that I talk about all the time, and this is just in the dictionary, and it actually relates to what you're talking about: is to behave as though you are attracted to someone without the serious intention of an outcome.
Uh-huh.
That last part is about letting go of the outcome, which
Yes.
is why people have such a hard time with flirting because they're attached to the outcome. And so,
Exactly,
right?
exactly,
S-
exactly. Because the more attached you are in life to the outcome, the more you unintentionally sabotage the result. It's not just in dating,
Yes.
it's in business, it's with your health. Have you ever said, I'm going to work out and not done it? Of
Mm-hmm.
course. Or I'm going to stop eating this food because I know it makes me sick. And then the next day you're eating it again. The We are often the victims of what our past thoughts and feelings were. And if we don't have a way to break the cycle, then we just play the same pattern over and over and over again. And plus, to the degree that we're attached to the old, it's
Mm-hmm.
harder to let go of. But attachment is just a feeling. And because it's just a feeling, when you let go of that feeling, then sometimes the actual thing goes out of your experience. But often what happens when you let go of the attachment to person, place, or thing, then you're free to have it or not have it. So you can still have uh, the perfect relationship, but without the attachment, it's easier. There's not the fear of not getting it or the fear of losing it, and you can enjoy it a lot more. Even
Oh,
if you're
yeah.
in a great relationship, if you're afraid of losing it all the time, you can't really enjoy it.
Oh my God, 100%. And this is why dating burnout happens all the time
Yes,
because
yes.
people are hanging on and there's so much what we call dating anxiety out there. And this
Yes.
is what I wanted to ask you. Like, so for people listening, a lot of times they'll say, well, how can I apply this, so that it really makes sense in my brain? So I'll give you a scenario and maybe you can
Sure.
kind of walk us through it because a lot of people, I'll say this is a common thing that they come to me around anxiety about if the other person likes them. They
Sure.
may have like anxious attachment style, which is a very common thing that people are trying to grapple with, especially during the pandemic, right? There's
Yes, yes.
anxiety's high and people are looking for certainty, right? in this
Right.
in this state of uncertainty, I think searching for certainty, and then when it comes to dating, that's why I think people are, it's just exacerbating the whole process. So what are some things that people could do using this process, or maybe other techniques that you teach to counteract that?
Sure. So, first off, when you're on a date, the thing to do is we forget. We try to be interesting. Whereas if we're just interested instead,
Oh, yes.
that changes everything. Whether you're a man or a woman, if someone's actually not needing from you, but just interested in you, wanting to hear what you have to say, really listening and feeling it inside and being present with the other person. That's the other thing that people want. When you're with them, people want you to just be actually present with them. So if you are interested and present with them, even if you make mistakes, even if you say the wrong things, even if you can't remember your best story, it doesn't matter because they feel better. And if they feel better, they're going to want to spend more time with you. And it also feels better to you. We think that getting other people to pay attention to us and to like us feels good. But what feels better is when we feel a sense of affection or caring or love for the other one. That's why we want to be in relationship anyway. We want to have an
Mhm.
excuse to feel that feeling of love because love is what's natural in each and every one of us. It's actually at our core. So that's one way of letting go. But the other thing is, I dropped the pen and as an explanation of what letting go is. But why don't I just give out a technique that people can start using
Oh
right
my God, that'd
away?
be great. Yeah.
So, uh, and so what I'll do is I'll explain what the technique is. It's incredibly simple. That's part of the reason it's as powerful as it is. So don't let the simplicity of it fool you. And it's something you can do while dating or while at work or whatever you're doing. So it's very helpful. So I'll just say what the questions are. The first question is, what are you feeling? Whatever that is, you just pay attention to what you're feeling. And then the next thing you do is you just for a moment let the feeling be there. And by the way, that's something also very helpful to do in a date. If you start to feel nervous or you start to
Mm-hmm.
feel fidgety or you start to feel like, I don't know. Now, again, if you're with a man or a woman, and you feel, I need to get out of here, just honor that and leave.
Pay attention.
Pay attention.
Yeah.
But there are other times where it's just old patterns coming up. And you're going, oh, what if he does like me? Or what if she does like me? That could be even worse. Or whatever. You might not be conscious of it. So there may be a pulling away. But if you allow yourself to just be yourself and welcome or allow or be present with whatever is arising within you, instead of trying to censor it or trying to be the perfect person for them, if you just allow yourself to be yourself, it makes them feel like they can be themselves. And it also feels better. We call that welcoming or allowing or being present with. And that's a great way to let go in and of itself. But that's where we start. And then the next question is, could you let it go? And could you just means if you just,
Mm-hmm.
it's just is it possible? Can you? And if you were able to drop that object that we spoke about earlier, then I know you can. The next question is, would you let it go? And would you just means are you willing to? And if you're ever not sure, just check. Would I rather feel uptight or tensed or have this problem? Or would I rather be free of it? And the last question is when? And when is just an invitation to choose to do it now. Now, as we go through these questions, you may find you let go on the could you, on the would you, on the when. You may save it up for
Mm-hmm.
when. You may find that it all dissolves just on you allowing or welcoming the feeling. Just be open to however it is. And just be open to the possibility that it can be easy and natural. And by the way, for the sake of this process, as best you can, focus with your heart as opposed to your head. You don't have to shut your head off.
That's
Just,
important. Yes.
just keep
Yes.
yourself as heart focused or feeling focused as you can. So let's do it together. I'm going to do it with
Okay.
everyone as opposed to singling you out. And you can do this with eyes open or eyes closed. It doesn't matter.
Perfect. I love this. Okay.
So in this moment, allow yourself to think of something in your life. It could be dating or or work or what's going on in the world and or just anything in your life that you're wanting to change or improve. And just pick something. It doesn't matter what it is. For the sake of this, I just want you to get an experience of letting go so you can start to do this on your own. And whatever you're thinking of in this moment, could you just notice how you feel about it as best you can? And then could you welcome or allow that feeling again as best you can? And then as best you can, just for now, could you let it go? Just could you? Would you? When? Now, that's one round, but let's do a couple more just so you can get more of a sense of it. And you may have noticed a letting go from that, or you may be not sure, but just stay with it. Stay open to this, at least as a possibility.
By the way, do you normally have people do this more than once, like in that
Oh,
process?
yes.
Ah, okay. Got it.
I normally do this. Everyone gets to a point where they can just do the questions once, or they don't even need
Mm-hmm.
the questions because they've gotten in touch with this natural ability. But
Um,
in the beginning, it's helpful to do it a few times in a row until you get the relief you're looking for.
oh, wonderful. Maybe we can do it one more time and then,
Okay,
yeah, that'd be awesome. Okay.
sure. I forgot we're on a time frame. So,
I
but
know. I was gonna say I could keep going with you, maybe, and we'll have you back on. We'll do something else. But yeah, this is
sure.
great.
Okay, so let's just do it one more time. Again, focus on the same thing or anything else in this moment that you want to change or improve. And could you just welcome or allow or be present with whatever that stirs up inside of you? And then as best you can, just for now, could you let it go? Just could you? Would you? When? So I would highly recommend, and by the way, you can say, could I let it go? Would I and when? You don't have to do it with you. I would highly recommend that everyone experiment with this. Just this one simple
Great.
beginners part of our program. People have let go of fears and phobias and all sorts of inner barriers that they didn't know they could
Do you
before.
ever have people write them down as they're thinking about it, or you want it to be more in the body?
It's best, it's best to write afterwards
Ah,
if you
okay.
have any insights you want to write down.
Mhm.
Um, but the writing down sometimes distracts. It's, as you said,
Mm.
it's better to stay in touch with your kinesthetic or visceral experience as best you can.
You know what's really great about this is, especially with dating anxiety, like if you're about to go on a date and you're nervous, I always tell people to kind of shake off the stress of the day and allow themselves an hour in between like their work self and their social life or their dating self, so they get into a more relaxed energy, more
Yes,
fun
yes,
energy.
yes,
I actually do it more like with dancing and get a playlist on Spotify and just get more like sexy kind of thing.
yes.
But then doing this is just another like arsenal in their, basket, I think is perfect, because accessing how you feel is going to move people from the head to the body. And that's where you want to be when dating, is in the
Oh,
body more.
definitely. Oh, definitely.
So it's brilliant. I love it. Well, like I said, I mean, we could do another one for sure. This has been great. Do you have any of like parting words of wisdom that you want to share, and
Oh,
how can
sure.
people find you? Yeah.
Oh, sure. So just remember, well, first off, just one thing about dating. What you'll find is that if you let go when you're with someone, they'll feel that, and that will make you more attractive.
Ah.
Because if you're letting go as opposed to clinging and holding on,
Mm-hmm.
they'll feel better too. So it's very mutual. And you can do this very quickly. Uh, Even if you don't have, say you work went over and you're going on a date and you don't have the hour, you have
Mm-hmm.
5 minutes, you can
Mm-hmm.
do this in one.
Do you
So,
know where I also want to say, I thought of another scenario this will be super helpful for. A lot of people struggle with like if they don't hear from the date.
oh yes.
And they don't like, where is he? And like,
So
oh my
you could,
God,
yes, you could let
he
go of
doesn't
that.
like me?
Yeah,
And,
yeah, that's
and
right.
especially if you have like issues with abandonment, like that's going to be
Oh
a
yeah,
trigger point for you. So learning how to let go of that, because if he's the right person or she's the right person, they'll be in touch or something
that's right.
happened, and to
That's
let
right.
that
And if
go.
they're
If
not, you're
he's
better
not,
off without them anyway.
boom, boom, end of story. Right.
Right, right.
Okay, go ahead.
So anyway, just to
Yeah.
summarize, just know that feelings are just feelings. They're not facts and they're not you, and you can let them go. Plus, right within you right now is a sense of wholeness, a sense of peace, a sense of joy and love that is always waiting to be uncovered. And the more you let go, the more you get comfortable within your own skin, the more everything becomes more fun, because you're living from your authentic core, your authentic nature. And that is already who you are. You don't grow into that. You are that. And just
Mm.
knowing that, you'll start to sense it being there even when you don't expect it. And it's always there supporting you every moment.
Beautiful. Oh my gosh. Awesome, awesome. Thank you so much. Are there I know that there's some books and resources for
Oh,
people. Did
sure,
you want to
sure.
share how people can find those? Yeah.
Yes. Well, the easiest way to get in touch with this work is to go to sedona.com, sedona.com. Uh, and it talks about our seminars, our books, our tapes, and there's tons of free resources as well. You don't have to spend money in order to get benefit from this. We also have a Facebook page, the Sedona Method
Ah,
Facebook page, where we have quote free material every day. And then we also have a YouTube page, the Sedona Method, that where we have over 200 videos that teach you different aspects of this process and also take you through it.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. And for those of you listening, we are putting this interview on YouTube as well. So, those of you who wanted to see in action us doing the Sedona method, you can hop over there and see it in action. So, thank you so much for coming on, Hale.
Thank you for having me. It was really fun.
Yeah, likewise. And thanks for joining me today. This has been the Charisma Quotient, and I'm your host, of course, Kimmy Seltzer. And remember, you can build confidence, make connection, and find love from the outside in. And make sure you go to my site, kimmyseltzer.com. And if you're looking to let go and attract someone new, hop on a free breakthrough call with me. As always, that you know that I offer that, and just take advantage of it so that you can get clarity on what it might be that is holding you back in order for you to move forward. And remember, it starts with you, and working on yourself is working on your love life. That's all for now.